Dr. Bryson here with a video for the corrections class for the summer of 2022. In this brief video, I wanted to talk about the ideal nature of parole. It's important to understand that parole is distinctively a rehabilitation theory strategy. When we understand that parole falls squarely in the theory of corrections that focuses on rehabilitation, then we should understand better how the parole process works. The ideal nature of parole is that as an inmate progresses and shows that they have rehabilitated themselves in the balance against the seriousness of their crime, then they should be paroled into the community. In other words, parole is about showing that you have made progress in rehabilitation, but balancing that with the seriousness of the crime, which means a petty drug offender with a 1 to 5 sentence who has engaged in a drug rehab program and has engaged in other programs and is showing some understanding in how addiction impacts the lives of others. When they're eligible for parole in 1 year, they likely should be getting parole because they have rehabilitated themselves and they're low-level offenders. But let's think of someone who has been convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder in the mass killing of their family. So after 10 years, they're eligible for parole on a 10 to 25 sentence if they got life with mercy in West Virginia. If in West Virginia, if they got life without mercy, they would not be eligible for parole. But let's say that they got life with mercy and they come up for parole in 10 years, at the end of their first 10 years, which is when they are eligible. In the 10 years that they have been an inmate in prison, they have not attended any rehabilitation programs, nothing like that. Well, that person obviously should not make parole at that point. But let's assume that this same person has engaged in a lot of rehabilitation programs. They're showing very strong indicators that they have made changes in their lives and their attitude. At 10 years, when they're first eligible for parole, should they make parole? Given the serious nature of the crime they committed, likely not. You know, I can't say for certain whether one should or shouldn't without actually being on the parole board and doing the full evaluation. But the point is that it is about rehabilitation and balancing level of rehabilitation with the seriousness of the crime. Now, this has been going on in California for some years with Leslie Van Houten, one of the Manson girls. For those of you who know who Charles Manson is. The parole board kept saying that they believed she had rehabilitated enough to be released from prison. However, the way it works in California is the parole board doesn't make the decision. The parole board makes a recommendation to the governor, and the governor makes the decision. Well, Leslie Van Houten went up for parole multiple times, and the governor constantly shot it down, even though the parole board was recommending. What the governor was saying is that the seriousness of the crimes outweighed any rehabilitation efforts that Leslie Van Houten had done. That's the way parole is supposed to work. We'll see you next video.